this.
Oh, boy.
A new Politico report claiming that anti-Trump legal pundits hold off-the-record calls about Donald Trump's legal sagas. Quote, the group's gathering was not a one-time event, but in fact an installment in an exclusive weekly digital salon every Friday. They meet on Zoom to hash out the latest twists and turns in the Trump legal saga and intellectually stress test the arguments facing Trump on his journey through the American legal system, because that's their job, right? The calls include several pundits who make appearances on several major cable networks that are not this one.
Yeah, Jeffrey Toobin also on those phone calls, apparently. Joe Concha is a Fox News contributor, and he joins us now. Joe, what do you think about this? Is there a problem that you see here?
A huge problem, Carly, because Donald Trump has said repeatedly that there is a legal conspiracy against him. And to hear all these pundits who appear what feels like on an hourly basis on those other cable news networks getting together for a weekly meeting to discuss how they're going to push the narrative that Donald Trump is absolutely guilty until proven innocent, boy, that's really telling. So the next time you watch any of these people on those networks, whether it's Bill Kristol, whether it's Father of the Year, George Conway, whether it's Lawrence Tribe or Jennifer Rubin, do know that their analysis is all rehearsed and all an effort to try to take out Donald Trump. And by the way, the fact that Jeffrey Toobin is one of the legal analysts that appears on these regular Zoom calls should be, hands down, potentially disturbing for anyone who has eyesight and is attending. Because remember, he got the shaft over at CNN for doing what he did in front of female coworkers on a Zoom call a few years ago. Yet now CNN invites him back to be their star analyst when it comes to these Trump trials. Go figure.
I caught two puns there. I'm not going to list them, but don't want you to think you put them over on me, Joe. Look, this always felt too coordinated. And when I speak with people, I'm sure you get the same thing. People always ask you, Joe, does the media coordinate their narratives? I think we now have an answer. Clearly, there is coordination here. But with all that coordination and all that strategizing, this is the best they could come up with, a case where even the prosecution, if they prove every single fact to be true, there's still no crime because the prosecution can't come up with a crime.
Yeah, Todd, I love the Jonathan Turley analogy where he says this is a Frankenstein case, right, where they took a dead misdemeanor and then bootstrapped it to a dead felony and then zapped it back to life. We still, haven't heard what the crime here is exactly. And I think many Americans, those who live in places like Pennsylvania or Wisconsin, Michigan, Georgia, Arizona, who are struggling with food prices that continue to climb and crime out of control in American cities, and obviously the border, immigration. They see these wars going on overseas. They see what's going on American campuses, and they say, boy, we got bigger fish to fry than Donald Trump allegedly paying a porn star 8 years ago as a hush money situation so he could interfere with the 2016 election? Yeah, no. I think most sane and sober people say that this is obviously a witch hunt and a politicization of the weaponization of the justice system, guys.
Just quickly, Turley's best line of this is the prosecution's whole case is we're going to prove that Donald Trump drove 55 miles an hour. Well, yeah, you can prove that. It's not a crime. You're allowed to drive 55 miles an hour.
And it's just very interesting that people who are legal analysts on competing networks are coming together to sort of form one solid, singular opinion when the goal should be to offer the audience their own unique thoughts and different perspectives. We also want to ask you, Joe, about the latest reporting overnight on the protest taking place in Colombia. They released a new statement saying that progress is being made with these student protesters. They were apparently going to be cleared by midnight, blew past that deadline. And this is the progress that they say that they're making. These protesters have agreed to comply with the FDNY, and they also agreed that all the non-student protesters would leave Colombia. So the progress is that these protesters are going to literally comply with the actual fire department, and that people that shouldn't be on campus are going to leave? Really?
Yeah, the people that should be on campus, they're not going anywhere because they are paid for. That is organized labor in essence. So that's their job at this point. And there's no brushing aside the fact that we saw signs from some of these maniacs standing in front of Israel supporters with the sign Al-Qassam's next targets. Al-Qassam obviously is the military wing of Hamas. So that doesn't sound very peaceful to me. We heard chants of go back to Poland. Columbia obviously just went remote with some of their classes. So overall, this isn't going to get better anytime soon. This semester cannot end soon enough. And it's just amazing what's going on college campuses today. Amazing in the worst ways, guys. I can't believe what we're seeing on our screens on a daily basis.
Why even negotiate with these student protesters?
I love that point you made. We're going to reward you for doing the right thing, for following the law.
Thank you
Great for you.
saying that you'll comply with the fire department. Joe, thank you for joining us.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.